very simple with drawing perspective. We're just going to start by how to draw a box in perspective. The boxes we're looking at here are not in perspective because all the lines on the sides are parallel. So how do we draw a box that's in perspective? Well, we're going to start by drawing the front of the box, and then we're going to add in a vanishing point. From each of these corners of this box, we're going to go back towards that vanishing point. It's going to go something like that. Then from there, we're going to finish off the box by doing parallel lines. So the line here is going to be parallel to this line. The line on here is going to be parallel to this line. It's going to look something like that. Okay, so I'm going to start off. I have a worksheet for you guys that is going to have the basic shapes drawn, and we're just going to make them and add them into perspective. So let's get started on that, shall we?
All right, so this handout here, you can either download in the link below, or if you want, you can just draw yourself some squares. I just did this so you can we can start out nice and simple. I've already got some squares we're going to turn into perspective cubes. I've also got a horizon line, so we get used to seeing that this is the ground, this is the sky, and then there's my vanishing point. Okay, we're going to start with this first guy right there. So, using my ruler, going to go from each one of these corners down to the vanishing point. Now, if you like, you can draw the line all the way to the vanishing point, but actually we're going to erase a lot of that anyway, so it's okay to just sort of draw it about halfway. Now, when you're drawing, you do want to be drawing nice and lightly because we are going to be doing a lot of erasing as we go. Okay, so there's my 3 vanishing point lines from this box here. Next, I'm going to put my parallel line. So I usually put my ruler up against the edge and just pull it down a little bit. Get a parallel line. Let's do it over here, up against the edge, pull it over a little bit till it lines up with the line I already made. And there we go. I've got my first cube. Now, last thing I do is go in and erase my construction lines. It is nice to have a mechanical pencil if you can get one of those too, since this is kind of technical drawing. Okay, let's do the next guy here. So same thing we did before. We're going to go from any corners down to the vanishing point. And then do my parallel line. So up against the edge of my block, and then pull down a little ways and put the parallel line in. And last step is go in and erase the construction lines. Okay, we'll just continue on doing those all the way around. Now, as you get done, you can also go in there and add a little bit of shading to make it look cool. Make it a little more obvious where the 3D is. Okay, I'm going to fast forward, but I'm going to go through and turn all of these into 3-dimensional cubes. Now, as you're doing this, the biggest mistake that people get is they don't keep their ruler perfectly vertical or horizontal. So sometimes what I like to do is look at it, kind of pull my head back a little bit and make sure that my ruler is lining up with the edge of my paper, with the edge of anything that's vertical or horizontal. If it's looking like your ruler is wonky like that or like that, that means that your lines are not going to line up perfectly. So make sure that your ruler is always either perfectly vertical or perfectly horizontal, lining up parallel with the edge of your block. Okay, now we have done this side. Now this side you want to do in pencil only. Very important because we don't want to ink this side or paint it or anything because this is really just warm up to get to the fancy stuff. You ready for it? Ooh, let's flip that over and let's take a look. All right, let's get a little bit more complicated. But I'm going to go with this one. Let's start with the easiest one. Let's start with this guy right there. It's going to start off the same, but we're going to start running into some weird problems. So you can see I'm still going from every corner towards the vanishing point. But things are going to get a little weird. When I do this one right here, if I try this, you can see I go from this to the corner. Anytime you run into a line, like I do right there, just stop. So anytime you hit a line, stop. Very important rule. Okay, now I go through and do my parallel lines. Now, up here, there should be a horizontal line there, but I'm not sure exactly how thick it should be. I'm going to cheat a little bit, just kind of make it roughly about the same size as that one. And then erase my construction lines. Okay, let's do the next one. Let's try this guy down here. Now, when you've got edges that poke out like this, you also have ones that poke in like this, like a stair step. So it goes out, in, out, in, out, in. And what you want to do is you want to make sure you're going to the vanishing point from anything that sticks out, but don't forget to get these little guys that are pointed in as well. So let's do this. Vanishing point lines. And don't forget this little guy over here. It's just going to be one little tiny line. We're just going to stop when we hit that other line. So just whoop, just like that. Okay. Now, to do my parallel lines, I need to look at my original line. See, it goes over, up, and I need to match that. So I'm going to start by going over. Whenever I hit a line, then I change direction following what's going on in this section. So it's parallel to that. So over, up, up. Okay, that guy's done. Let's do this guy. So I'm going from each corner. Now something weird is going to happen when I get to this one. So there's an inside and an outside. But the problem is I'm so close to the horizon line that there's not enough room to draw both of those lines. They're basically going to be right on top of each other. And that kind of thing is going to happen anytime you get close to the horizon line or close to the vanishing point. It's like things start getting so close together, it's like being sucked into a black hole. So it kind of gets a little bit more challenging sometimes. Sometimes you have to cheat just a little bit to make things work. Okay, and don't forget this little last guy over here in the corner. Don't forget him. All right, now let's do my up-overs. So I'm looking at this, goes up, over, up, over. Always start on one side and try and work your way all the way across from there. Now, when I get to this next section, I'm not sure where to start, but actually I can tell because I can see this line is all on one line, so this means that this should line up right over there. So I can actually use the line I already made and just continue this one on over to there. Okay, and then now I'm going to have to cheat a little bit here because if I look at this, I can see it goes up, over, up, and I need to follow that basic pattern. So I'm going to go up, I'm going to cheat a little bit, go over, and then go up again. All right, so there we go. I can go in and erase my construction lines. Ooh, let's do this last one here too. Okay, next I'm going to go in and ink these with the outline. I've got my my pen here. Remember, it's got the thick side, and then it's also got the skinny side. We're going to use the skinny side because it matches up better with the size of the original ink lines from the printer. So, go through, let's ink all my lines. And last thing, we'll be going in and doing some color. So use my watercolor. So start by putting a flat color in everywhere, and then maybe you can use a darker green or brown, and add some shading so it looks a little more three-dimensional. And if you don't have watercolors, you can use colored pencils or whatever you have. There we go. We got some shapes in 3 dimensions. If you get done with this early, which you should do, open up your book, draw some of your own shapes and see if you can create some 3-dimensional blocks based on your own design. So challenge yourself. This is too easy. Give yourself a challenge. All right.